Imagine standing on the bank of a river thousands of years ago, watching the first humans set a hollowed log afloat, cautiously pushing it into the water. That simple raft, tied together with reeds or vines, might have been humanity's very first step toward mastering the seas. From these humble beginnings, boats have carried people, goods, and ideas across rivers, lakes, and oceans, shaping civilizations and connecting distant lands. Fast forward a few millennia, and you see sleek Viking longships slicing through the northern seas, galleons brimming with treasures crossing the Atlantic, and steam-powered paddle boats churning up rivers that were once impassable. Today, towering cruise liners glide effortlessly across oceans. Solar-powered yachts explore remote coasts, and futuristic autonomous ships promise to redefine the way we navigate the waters. But how did we get from these primitive rafts to the marvels of modern maritime engineering? That story is as fascinating as the vessels themselves, and it's a journey through time, culture, and human ingenuity. Boats have always been more than just tools for transportation. They are mirrors of the societies that built them. Early humans relied on dugout canoes and reed boats to survive, to trade, and to explore, learning the rhythms of rivers and the forces of wind and current. As civilizations advanced, so did their vessels. Egyptians built sailboats capable of crossing the Nile with heavy cargo. Greeks and Romans designed warships with multiple rows of oars to dominate the seas, and Vikings engineered longships that were both fast and sturdy enough to carry raiders, traders, and explorers across vast oceans. Every innovation, whether a new hull design, a stronger material, or a clever arrangement of sails, tells a story of human curiosity, courage, and the relentless desire to reach further than before. This is a story of transformation, where each boat is a chapter in the history of our exploration, trade, and survival, leading us to the magnificent and diverse fleet of vessels that sail today. Long before there were maps, compasses, or even written history, humans were already experimenting with the idea of boats. The earliest boats were likely simple rafts, dugout canoes, or bundles of reeds, used by prehistoric humans to navigate rivers and lakes. Archaeological evidence suggests that dugout canoes existed as early as 10,000 BCE. These primitive vessels were made by hollowing out a single tree trunk using fire, stones, or shells. They allowed early humans to fish, transport goods, and explore local waterways. Around 8,000 BCE, there is evidence of early reed boats in Mesopotamia and Egypt, showing that people had begun tying bundles of reeds together to form buoyant structures capable of carrying larger loads. These early boats were critical to the development of trade, as they enabled communities separated by rivers to exchange goods, ideas, and culture. A famous example is the Khufu Ship, discovered near the Great Pyramid of Giza, which dates back to approximately 2500 BCE. This massive wooden ship, over 140 feet long, was buried as part of Pharaoh Khufu's tomb and demonstrates the Egyptians' sophisticated knowledge of shipbuilding and river navigation. By around 2000 BCE, boat technology had advanced considerably. The Egyptians had begun constructing sailboats, using large rectangular sails to harness the wind, allowing vessels to travel up and down the Nile much faster than by paddling alone. Meanwhile, across the Mediterranean, the Minoans on Crete were developing early seafaring vessels that could handle coastal and open-sea navigation. These boats featured stronger hulls and multiple oars, enabling them to travel farther and carry more cargo. The Greeks later inherited and refined these techniques, giving rise to their famous warships. Around 800 BCE, the Greeks began building triremes, long, narrow vessels with 3 rows of oars on each side, manned by dozens of oarsmen. Triremes were not only fast and agile, but also revolutionary in naval warfare. They played a crucial role in battles such as the Battle of Salamis in 480 BCE, where the Greek fleet famously defeated the Persian armada. Around the same period, the Romans adopted and improved upon Greek ship designs, creating sturdy cargo ships and war galleys that could dominate the Mediterranean. Roman engineers developed ships like the Navy's Honoraria, designed to carry hundreds of tons of goods, demonstrating the importance of maritime trade to the growth of empires. In Northern Europe, a parallel evolution was taking place. The Vikings, between 800 and 1100 CE, developed longships that were both sleek and sturdy, capable of navigating rough oceans as well as shallow rivers. Viking longships, such as the famous Oseberg ship, dated to around 820 CE, were clinker-built, meaning their planks overlapped for added strength and featured a single square sail along with oars. These vessels allowed Vikings to raid, trade, and explore vast distances, from the coasts of North America to the rivers of Russia. The combination of speed, flexibility, and durability made longships a technological marvel of the medieval era. Meanwhile, the rest of Europe saw the development of the cog, a bulkier cargo ship with a flat bottom and high sides, around 1100 CE. Cogs were primarily used in trade across the North and Baltic Seas and represented a shift toward vessels designed for carrying heavy goods rather than rapid movement or warfare. The Age of Exploration, beginning in the 15th century, marked a major turning point in boat technology. Navigators and explorers needed ships that could cross vast oceans, withstand storms, and carry both cargo and crew for months at a time. One of the most famous innovations of this period was the caravel, first developed by the Portuguese in the 1450s. Caravels were small, highly maneuverable ships with lateen sails that could sail closer to the wind, making them ideal for exploration. Christopher Columbus famously sailed the caravel Niña on his 1492 voyage to the Americas. Soon after, larger multi-decked ships called galleons emerged in the 16th century, combining cargo capacity with armed protection. Spanish galleons, like those used in the treasure fleets of the 1500s, could carry gold and silver from the New World while defending against pirates and rival navies. Shipbuilding also benefited from improved navigational tools, such as the compass, astrolabe, and later the sextant, which allowed sailors to traverse oceans with increasing accuracy. The design of hulls and sails continued to evolve, creating vessels capable of both long-distance trade and military conquest. With the onset of the Industrial Revolution in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, boat design underwent a radical transformation. The invention of the steam engine allowed humans to harness mechanical power rather than relying solely on wind or human effort. In 1807, Robert Fulton successfully demonstrated the commercial viability of a steamboat with his vessel, the Clermont, on the Hudson River. This innovation revolutionized river transport in North America and Europe, making it possible to move goods and passengers much faster than before. Paddle steamers became common, and soon engineers introduced the screw propeller in the 1830s, improving efficiency and enabling vessels to traverse oceans more reliably. At the same time, the transition from wooden hulls to iron and steel allowed ships to become larger, stronger, and safer. Iconic examples of iron-hulled ships from this period include the SS Great Britain, launched in 1843 by Isambard Kingdom Brunel, which was the first iron-hulled, propeller-driven ship to cross the Atlantic. This era marked the beginning of modern shipbuilding, where design, material, and power systems were systematically engineered. The 20th century brought even more dramatic changes. Passenger liners, such as the RMS Titanic, launched in 1912, symbolized the peak of luxury and scale in shipbuilding. At the same time, naval engineering advanced rapidly, producing battleships, aircraft carriers, and submarines that redefined maritime warfare. Cargo shipping also evolved with the development of massive freighters capable of transporting thousands of tons of goods across oceans. The 20th century also saw the emergence of recreational boating as a major cultural phenomenon. Yachts, motorboats, and ferries became common, reflecting both technological progress and growing leisure industries.